Hey, welcome to Draft Academy. My name is Mike. In this course, I'm going to be teaching you guys everything you need to know to get started in the C programming language. C is an awesome programming language, and it's actually one of the oldest programming languages around. In fact, a lot of modern programming languages are based off of C. So it's a really good idea if you want to get into C, or even if you're trying to get into something like C++, to learn the basics. And in this course, we're going to cover everything you need to know. I'm going to talk to you guys about installing a text editor and using the C compiler. And we're going to write some basic code. I'll talk to you guys about, what is a program and how do programs work and how does C read the instructions that you give it. Then we're going to get into some more advanced stuff. We're going to look at things like if statements and loops. We're going to create different variables. We're going to talk about the different types of data that you can use in C. Then we're going to get more advanced. We're going to talk about things like structures and functions. We're going to talk about pointers. And basically, I'm just going to give you a full overview of all of the core concepts in C. So by the end of this course, you'll have a really good understanding and a really good foundation which you can build on. You can kind of go forward and learn some more. I'm really excited to be bringing you guys this basic course on C. I'm really excited for you guys to dive in and start using these tutorials. So feel free to click around through all the videos and hopefully you'll learn something awesome about C. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk to you guys about getting everything set up to start programming in C. Now, in order to program in C, we're actually going to need two things. The first thing we're going to need is an environment where we can write our C programs. Now, there's a bunch of these different environments. Essentially, all you need is just a text editor. So anything that can allow you to write text and then save that text in a specific file format is going to work. Although when we're working with C, a lot of times it can be useful to use a special environment called an IDE. An IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. Basically, this is a special text editor which makes it a lot easier for us to write our C programs in. So I'm going to show you guys how to install an IDE called CodeBlocks. The second thing we need to write our C programs is going to be something called a C compiler. Now, C is a programming language, which means we can basically write out, instructions that we want to give to the computer. But eventually, for the computer to be able to execute those instructions, they have to be compiled, which basically means like translated or transformed into a language that the computer can understand. So we're going to basically download and install a special program that will do that for us. So let's get started. I am going to come over to my web browser, and I'm just going to go up to the Google search bar, and I'm going to search for a program called CodeBlocks. So just type in CodeBlocks C, and this link should come up. It's codeblocks.org. Now, this is an integrated development environment. It's basically a text editor that will make it really easy for us to write our C programs. So I'm going to come down here into Downloads, and there's a bunch of options here. One says download the binary release, download the source code. We want to click on download the binary release. This is going to be the easiest option. So if you're on Windows or Linux or Mac, you can install it from this page. So depending on the operating system that you're on, you want to click that. I'm on Windows, so I'm going to come down here to the Windows option. You'll see there's little options for us to download this stuff. So there's a bunch of options here. What we want to download is going to be this one right here. It says CodeBlocks. And then the version number, and then it says min-gw-setup. Basically what this is it's going to allow us to install CodeBlocks. So we're going to be able to install that IDE program, and we're also going to be able to install a C compiler. So remember, I said we needed those two programs, we needed those two things, and this is actually going to give us both of them on Windows. So I'm going to come over here and click on the link to download this from sourceforge.net, and you can see it's gone ahead and downloaded that. So now let's head over to our downloads folder, and I'm just going to double click on this setup program. So this should open up a window where we can set up the program, and let's just click through this. So I'm just going to click next. I'm going to agree to the license and basically just leave all the options as default, and you should be good to go. All right, when that's done installing, it's going to ask us to run CodeBlocks, so we can just go ahead and do that. And it's giving me this little window here. It says compilers auto detection. So you can just click on the one up here that's highlighted. It says GNU GCC compiler, and I'm just going to click set as default and click OK. And there you go. We now have CodeBlocks installed. So in the next few tutorials, we're going to be learning about setting up code blocks, writing our first C programs, and really just getting started with C. But for now, you have everything you need to get started. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk to you guys about getting everything set up to start programming in C on OS X. So if you're using a Mac, then this video will basically show you how to get everything set up. In order to start working with C, we're actually going to need two things. The first thing we're going to need is a text editor. And basically, we're going to use the text editor to write our C programs in. And you can use any text editor that you want to write C programs, but there's actually a special type of text editor, which is called an IDE, and it stands for Integrated Development Environment. And it's basically a special environment where we can go to write and run and manage our C programs. So that's the first thing. The second thing we're going to need is what's called a C compiler. Now, C is a programming language, so essentially what we're doing when we're using it is we're writing instructions for the computer. But in C, we're writing instructions that us humans can understand and work with, but in order for the computer to be able to carry them out, they have to be compiled or translated or transformed into a language that the computer can understand. And that's what the C compiler is going to do. It's going to take our C programs and essentially just translate them into a language that the computer can understand. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you guys how to install that compiler, and then we'll get a text editor. So what you want to do on your Mac is go over to the search bar, and you're just going to type in terminal and click enter, and a window that looks like this should pop up. Now the terminal is basically a program that allows us to interact with the computer using text commands. So we're actually going to need to use the terminal in order to do what we want to do. So first thing we want to do is check to see if you might already have a C compiler installed. So in certain circumstances, you might already have one. So you just want to type in cc-v and click enter. And you'll see over here, I have a C compiler installed. So I'm getting all of this information. You can see over here, it says like CLang, and it's giving me, a bunch of information. If you have that, then you have your C compiler installed and you're ready to go. But if you don't have that, I'm going to show you guys how to get it. So all you want to do is just type in Xcode, select, and then space hyphen install. And click enter, and you'll see I'm getting an error here because I already have these command line tools installed. But if you don't already have them installed, and obviously then you wouldn't have that C compiler, then this is going to go off and install everything you need to get that C compiler working. So once you run that Xcode select command, just type in cc-v again, and you should be getting this version number. All right, so now that we have our C compiler installed, what we want to do is download an IDE. So we want to download a special text editor that we can use to write our C programs in. So I'm going to go over here to my web browser, and I'm up here at a website called codeblocks.org. And this is an IDE called CodeBlocks. It's one of the most popular free IDEs for programming in C. So we're just going to come down here to this downloads link, and there should be a few options here: download the binary release, download the source code. We're going to click download the binary release. And you'll see down here we have a bunch of options for Windows, Linux, and Mac. Click the Mac option.